On Netflix, I watched from 2015, Chappie. I think this was written and directed by Neill Blomkamp, a South African filmmaker who wants to remind you of Joburg at all possible times. This movie, now, I didn't really want to go see it in theaters or any of this stuff. I wasn't really watching a lot of stuff in theaters at that time, but yeah, I pegged this pretty early on in watching it as being very highly influenced by RoboCop. In a lot of ways, it's RoboCop because it has the intermittent framing device of the TV broadcast. Oh, we have like the news showing what's going on, you know, instead of a narrator or anything more traditional. But it's also like RoboCop in that way. Maybe it's not necessarily spoof commercials, but it's still similar to RoboCop. So that sort of thing does happen. And we also have the story of this corporation that builds robots for the police, because in the future of a year later, the crime is so high, right, that you need police androids on the force, right? But it's also the inverse of RoboCop, because whereas the cop becomes the robot, now we have the robot cop attempting to become human. And then they kind of mess it up, but it's also very District 9 in that way. Oh, hey, I became the alienated group, and now I'm fighting for their cause. So, yeah, that sort of thing does happen. Now, it stars Dev Patel as the creator of Chappie, this robot, who is one of many police robots. He was messed up in a fight. He's going to be deactivated, but, oh, he has this new program that gives this thing consciousness. He experiments with and shouldn't have done because he had a bunch of Red Bull. Goes against the wishes of Sigourney Weaver, who honestly had no business being here other than she wanted to work with these people. And Hugh Jackman, who is basically the villain. He is Dick Jones, but also the guy operating Ed 209 in this movie called Moose. A completely ridiculous robot that has no place on the police force. It's a giant tank, and when it flew, I about laughed. A lot of stuff doesn't entirely make sense. So we have this gang, these two guys, well, three people, Ninja, America, and Yolandi, and they're hiding out in this like old factory that has good internet connection and electricity, and they owe some money to some thief, I guess, or criminal. I don't even remember his name. Maybe it's something like Mammoth, I don't remember. But they owe him like 20 million, whatever the currency is. And at one point they're like, give us a week, you have 7 days, damn it. I'm like, a week is 7 days. So they have to make this money, and they have this plan. They need to turn off all the robots. So they're gonna get the guy who creates the robots, see if he has a remote that can turn off all the robots. He doesn't, but he has a robot on hand that he's able to bring to life because their setup allows this. I guess you don't really need that good of a setup if you have the guard key that can do anything in this movie. But it's a guard key, and Chappie is able to activate him, get the new operating system up. And, oh, he's like a child, he's learning. So he has like 7 days to become a hard ass so he can help him rob stuff and get money to pay off this guy who wants to murder them. Instead of just leaving town, you know, because what have you really got in Joburg? You got transportation, leave. I mean, God's sake. End of movie right there. Well, Chappie comes online. They're training him up. They call him like, oh, hey, Yolandi becomes mommy. Ninja is daddy. America is his America, whatever. I think they just keep calling him America because he's the American there. And this couldn't be a more shitty group for us to try to align with us. I mean, these are people that had guns who were shooting up people and shit at the beginning of the movie, and they're supposed to be sympathetic. Could they look any creepier? You know, why do they live in a warehouse full of dick pictures? And the music is awful. Yeah, the score ain't so bad at times, but the music that gets pumped in, reminding you how punk this is. Jesus Christ. I don't think I've come across a more unlikable group of alleged protagonists in a movie. if anybody I'm rooting for, it's Hugh Jackman. Oh, but he's evil because he mentions going to church. And he used to be in the military, so yeah, he's a bad guy. Oh, but what's he doing? He's developing this, like, cool tank. For the military, it would have been cool, but as a police thing, how's it getting in buildings? Oh, well, it can fly. In order for his program to get approved, you know, like Ed 209 got rejected, things have to get a lot worse. How does he make things worse? Turns off all the robots, Chappie goes down too, but somehow Chappie comes back online, none of the other stuff does. Dev Patel, creator, checks in with them regularly, but Hugh Jackman knows that they're up to something, that he's spying on them, sees that they've made this robot off the books, gets the go-ahead from Sigourney Weaver to nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. So he shows up with Moose, and he's got this like virtual reality helmet with synapse readers stuff, but he also needs joysticks to control it, which doesn't make any sense if it goes off your mind. So if it's powered by mind control, how does that work? Well, mind control, I don't know if you want to call it that. So he's fighting it out with them. The goon who they owed money to gets killed. He starts shooting up everybody. It looks like Ninja's going to sacrifice himself, but then Yolandi shows up, saves him. She gets killed. Oh, but Chappie found a way to transfer life. Like, there's this point where earlier he comes across the virtual reality helmet, I'll call it that. And he's, with one day's use of internet, is able to figure out how everything in the world works. Puts this thing on, eventually programs it so that he can transfer consciousness. The gag should have been that he puts it on his head, and his head just being some carbon fiber doesn't work. That's how these devices are supposed to work. It's not work against that. Oh, but it does. So he's able to like upload his brain. His creator gets shot by the Moose, which, by the way, Chappie destroyed with a bomb explosive. And he's racing to the facility where they're going to fight Hugh Jackman and try to fix the creator. Don't take him to the hospital, but set him up to use Hugh Jackman's virtual helmet. So he goes in there, roughs up Hugh Jackman's sound for violence. And all the while, like, he'd been tricked easily into sleeping guards. Oh yeah, you just stab him, make him go sleep. You go sleep now, Ninja Star. You know, we had our robot turn into a punk. Chappie got blings now? Chappie got blings. Yeah, dumb shit. Oh yeah, well, he got on the internet, but he didn't understand anything about human biology. Didn't look that up. You know, when trying to figure out how brains work, shit's sake. So with Hugh Jackman out of the way, they use his virtual reality helmet to transfer the creator to a prone droid that is just sitting by. And with him, it's not a download. It's like instant conscious transfer. As soon as his consciousness leaves his body, he is dead and he's in the machine. But everybody else, it's like some kind of upload. Yeah, mommy, Yolandi. She got uploaded. She didn't even realize it. She got her brain pattern recognized, put on a jump drive. And then Chappie goes and fills with that. At the end of the movie, turns on some machines and builds a mom robot for her. He's going to transfer her in. So now you have the punks living with the robots, and they're against the police and the corporation, and yay, front and center. Messaging right there, isn't it? You know, we want our message to be really in front of our face. Whereas in RoboCop does one of the more sly jobs of inserting this stuff under the surface. Yeah, you have a lot of things going on with the corporation, but they don't outright say what they're doing. They don't outright make themselves evil through some weird coding schematics. Like, oh hey, he goes to church, well, it must be the evil guy. I mean, hell, RoboCop's creator was doing coke with hookers. That's supposed to make him cool, right? You know, I don't know if they have any plans for a sequel to this. I wouldn't really bother. Like anything that really tries to ape RoboCop, it seems to come up short. And there's just so much going on that made me remember RoboCop coming up. I mean, like, hell, you got the people attacking Chappie, you know, as they turn on RoboCop, all that kind of stuff. Hell, the punks drive around in a van on the highway in the daylight, like that chase near the beginning of RoboCop, chasing Clarence Bodiger. You know, Chappie wasn't awful. It might have been actually better than I expected, but it's still on that borderline where it's like, nah, I wouldn't really quite recommend this to somebody. I give Chappie 2.5 out of 4 stars.